Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, Jenny and I are taking a trip back in time to 1994, specifically to COMDEX, the Computer Dealers Expo. And if you thought tech moved fast now, buckle up.
Buckle up is right, Mark. This was such a fascinating dive. COMDEX in '94 felt like a crossroads, didn't it? Like they were bridging the old personal computing world with the internet revolution that was just about to explode. It's wild to think about.
Exactly. It was this transitional period where you had these massive shifts in hardware, multimedia, connectivity, the whole nine yards. And a huge piece of that was what they called the CPU wars.
Ah, yes, the CPU wars. That sounds very dramatic. Give me the rundown, what was the gist?
So Intel's Pentium was the big dog, trying to, assert dominance. But you had underdog challengers like AMD with their K5, Cyrix with their M series, and even next-gen. Plus, the IBM, Motorola, and Apple consortium was pushing their RISC-based PowerPC architecture as a superior alternative, especially for creative folks.
So it was all about who had the bigger, faster chip, essentially, like a digital drag race?
Pretty much. They were showing off clock speeds, Pentium, around 75 to 100 megahertz, which sounds quaint now, doesn't it? And these intense performance benchmarks were everywhere. Intel was pushing its floating point unit optimization for Windows, while Cyrix highlighted its math coprocessor advantage. It was a marketing battle as much as it was a technical one, probably even more so.
And how did this gladiator arena, as you called it, shake out? Did anyone win, or was it a free-for-all?
Ultimately, it led to a clear market split. You had the value-oriented x86 chips from AMD and Cyrix challenging Intel on price, kind of forcing Intel's hand to innovate faster and make things more accessible. And then PowerPC carved out this premium niche market, especially in multimedia and design, but it never really dominated the mainstream PC space. It's interesting how those foundations were laid.
Interesting. So it set the stage for the chip landscape we know today. But it wasn't just about what was times inside times the computers, was it? COMDEX was also huge for portable computing, which, we take for granted now.
Oh, for sure. The portable tech on display was quite something. You had the IBM ThinkPad 755C, which was this beautifully engineered machine with an active matrix color display. That was a big deal. And a lightweight magnesium casing. It truly set the standard for enterprise mobility back then. People went nuts for them.
I remember those ThinkPads. They felt so futuristic at the time. And NTK was showing off laptops with integrated dual-speed CD-ROM drives, right? That must have felt like, wow, having multimedia on the go, no longer tethered.
It did. Mobile presentations, CAD visualization, things that used to tie you to a desktop were suddenly portable. And then you had early glimpses of what would become our tablets and wearables. Zenith had their CruisePad, a DOS-compatible convertible tablet, and Timex even had its DataLink watch, kind of a precursor to smartwatches that could sync with your PC. Very rudimentary, of course.
So prototypes that foreshadowed what we use every day now. But I imagine battery life and display quality were humbling, to say the least.
Humble is a generous word. You had to stay near an outlet. Just a few hours, if you were lucky. But these were foundational pieces. And speaking of foundational pieces, COMDEX was also a hotbed for connectivity experiments, which, looking back, seems so quaint.
Right. We're talking early internet, dial-up days. They were trying to figure out how to get us connected anywhere, which is wild considering where we are now.
Exactly. Cellular Digital Packet Data, or CDPD, was being touted as the future of mobile internet. It was clunky, sure, and slow, but it was an attempt at Internet Anywhere years before viable mobile broadband, and Prodigy was forging partnerships, hinting at the subscription-based digital ecosystems we'd see emerge later. They were thinking ahead, even if the tech wasn't quite there yet.
And you mentioned something about secret fax tech sparking privacy debates? That sounds like something out of a spy movie.
Ah, yes. During an NCR presentation, they highlighted a secret fax transmission feature. It allowed you to send documents without the recipient knowing it was a fax, which immediately raised eyebrows about corporate espionage and privacy. A good example of innovation moving faster than ethical considerations, wouldn't you say?
Wow. That's something I never would have thought of. It definitely shows how technology always brings up new ethical questions. What about human interaction with these machines? Were there any weird, experimental interfaces on display?
Oh, there were. NCR also had a right touch tablet that combined pressure-sensitive digitizers with voice recognition. The idea was for healthcare or logistics, charting prescriptions with your voice. But Jenny, the accuracy was still very much in development. It was hit or miss, mostly miss, and then there was the Spectrum ring mouse.
A ring mouse? What does that even mean? Like, a mouse you wear on your finger?
Precisely. It was this ergonomic alternative to a traditional mouse, where you wore a ring with a thumb-operated trackball. Cool concept, certainly aimed at reducing repetitive strain, but I'm told the reality was awkward. Users found it cumbersome, and the video even showed touchscreen torture demos, just highlighting how unresponsive and limited touchscreens were back then. We've come a long way with touch.
See, this is why I love looking back at old tech shows. You get to see the seeds of amazing innovation, but also the quirky, sometimes downright bizarre, attempts that just didn't pan out. It's part of the journey, I guess.
Yep. And no discussion of COMDEX 94 would be complete without talking about the colossal hype train that was Microsoft and Windows 95.
Ah, the dawn of Windows 95. That feels like a cultural moment, not just a tech one. Like, the whole world was waiting.
It really was. Microsoft was hyping it as their first clean operating system, not dependent on DOS, though it did retain compatibility layers, which was important for backward compatibility. Bill Gates was front and center, talking about the death of DOS and the integrated Microsoft network. It was a big vision.
And they had all these partners already on board, right? Like developers making software specifically for it, building that ecosystem from the ground up.
Over 200 software partners. WordPerfect was optimizing for Win95's multi-threading. SoftKey was designing new window management tools. They were building this ecosystem, trying to show why their OS was the future, even with the occasional demo hiccup, like blue screens of death in presentations, which was a common occurrence and source of nervous laughter back then.
So it was definitely a mix of visionary ideas and practical limitations. What else struck you as a particularly forward-looking idea from COMDEX 94 that actually became big, like a core part of our tech landscape today?
Well, the Panasonic rewritable CD system on display definitely evolved into the DVD and then Blu-ray standards that dominated professional and home archiving for decades. And all those early wireless communication ideas, messy as they were, paved the way for GPRS and EGE, eventually leading to the mobile broadband we have today. They were laying the groundwork, even if they didn't know it then.
And lithium-ion batteries, right? They were being pushed for portable devices, and look at them now. They're everywhere. We can't live without them.
Exactly. They cataloged the explosive growth in notebooks and then phones due to that battery tech. So looking back at COMDEX 94, it wasn't just a trade show. It was this pivotal moment where you could see so much of our digital future being sketched out, warts and all. It wasn't perfect, but the seeds were there.
It certainly was. A huge thank you to our listeners for joining us on this trip back to 1994. It's truly eye-opening to see how far we've come, and how many of these futuristic ideas are now just normal parts of our everyday lives. It's a testament to continuous innovation